Okay, here's a audio explanation and visual explanation of your polar art project. Okay, your polar art project. The first thing that we're going to do is you're going to create an equation, completely random, by rolling dice and flipping coins. Okay, so as a non-specific random example, I'm going to do that right now. So I have some dice. Hear them? There's some dice. I roll it. I have a 2 and a 6. My first number will be an 8. Okay? I have a coin. It's a quarter. I flip it. Heads is plus. It's tails. I get a minus. I take 2 more dice. This is step number 3. And I roll them. 1 plus 1 is 2. Not very good, but okay, 2. And now I have a coin, sine or cosine. Heads is sine. Cosine. So I have a cosine here. And then I take 1 dice and I roll it. I get a 4. I add 2 to my 4, making it a 6. Okay, so that's my random, that's my equation. You will do yours in class here in a minute with your own dice and your own quarter or nickel or dime or penny, or you can use mine. Okay, that's the easy part. Now comes the hard part. Making a table. Okay, so your table is going to have unit circle values of pi. Okay, based upon your number right here. Okay, this number is going to tell you what type of radians you're going to have. That number. So for my table, I have a 6 as my theta. So I start with my angle on the left and my radius on the right. So there's my table, right? It's a table. Angles on the left. My first angle is, of course, 0. So in my calculator, I'm going to put 8 minus 2 times the cosine of 6 times 0. I plug that into my calculator, and my calculator says the answer is 6. So my first coordinate is 6, 0. We'll get to that in a minute. We're going to fill out this table. My next one, so now I have a radian, right? Remember, my B value was 6. So in order to get nice, pretty points, I'm going to pick my next angle to be pi over 12. Because I know this will give me a nice, pretty point when I plug it into my calculator. Okay, so if yours was a 4, say maybe yours was a 4, then you'd be using pi over 8s. Okay, if yours was a 3, you'd be using pi over 6s. So the denominator of your radian is going to change based upon the angle in front of theta, that number. If yours is a 7, then it's pi over 14. Right? If yours is an 8, then it's pi over 16. And so if yours is at 5, then it's pi over 10. Okay, and we plug this into our calculator. And my answer is 8. Okay, because of course this is 0. 8 minus 0 is 8. Okay, my next one. What number comes after 1? 2. 2 comes after 1. So I'm going to plug in 2 pi over 12. So right here in my equation, in my calculator, I'm just going to change this part to a 2 pi over 12. And then I'm going to do 3 pi over 12. And then I'm going to do 4 pi over 12. All the way down until I go all the way around my circle, which is going to be 24 pi over 12. Okay? But don't worry, these numbers are going to start repeating. 6, 8, 10, 8, 6, 8, 10. You'll see a pattern once you start doing 5 or 6 or 7 of these in your calculator, and then you won't have to calculate anything anymore. You're going to use your brain and the pattern to fill out everything else. Okay, you just have to use your calculator to establish the pattern, right? It's a sinusoidal, so it goes up. They repeat over and over and over and over. It's the repetition that makes this not difficult, right? It might be, quote unquote, a lot, but it's not hard work. Okay, so once you're done making your table, and this should be done in a calculator, right? If you have an Nspire, that's fantastic. The next thing we're going to do is you're going to make your polar graph. Okay, so I am changing this from a 16 by 16 to a 14 by 14. Okay, so use a 14 by 14 inch piece of cardstock or poster board. Okay, your standard poster board is a 22 by 28. Okay, that's what a poster board size is. So that means if you cut it in half, you can get two 14 by 14s out of this. Okay, so you and a buddy can get together and share one piece of poster board, and it saves you 55 cents. Right? They're not too expensive. So 14 by 14 should be the size of your poster board. Okay, now when we come back in here, you are going to, on your poster board, using a ruler so that we can get it perfect, draw in some axes. You're going to draw your X and your Y axis, right? This is part of your grade, is to draw these in, right? Exactly 7 and 7, of course, because if it's 14 by 14, then you have, right, it's very, very even, right in the middle. And now, depending on your radius, right, my radius was, the biggest one is probably going to be 10. 10 is going to be my biggest radius. Okay, so I need to make 10 concentric circles using a circle maker, and I have them in class. So we're going to do this all by hand. You're going to create these polar graphs by hand using this nice, beautiful circle maker that we have in class. Okay, so we're going to do it. We're going to make 10 of them. Well, I don't know however many you have made, but yours are going to be nice and beautiful. Part of your grade depends upon the accuracy of your stuff. Okay, so we'll do this in class on Thursday. I'm talking to you on Tuesday, by the way. Thursday, we're going to do this because you don't have cardstock in your hands right now. So when you come back to class on Thursday, please have a piece of cardstock we can do this on. And now, the angles, right? I have pi over 12 as my angle, so I'm going to break my circle into 15 degrees. So pi over 12 is equal to 15 degrees. I also have protractors in class. So you're going to get your protractor out and you're going to measure every 15 degrees. 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, right? And we're going to make our polar lines. So you might not have pi over 12. You might have less lines to make. You might have more lines to make. Okay, so you're going to make all these. This is what we're going to do eventually on Thursday. And then we're going to use our coordinates to plot. Right, the table that we made. So our first point is 0, 6. So I would come over here at 0, and I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this would be my first dot. And then it was 8, so then my second dot would be over here. And then maybe it was 10, so my third dot would be back here. And then maybe it was back to 8, and then maybe it was back to 6, right? And then it was at 8, and then it was at 10. Right, so we're going to get your little graph of however it's going to look, and it's going to be plotted. You're going to have all these points from your table that you're going to plot. And then you're going to make it colorful and artistic. Okay, 10% of your grade is making it pretty. So you do everything right, right? Maybe you're not an artiste, but you can get all of your math done correctly, and your graph can be very beautiful, mathematically looking, but ugly artistic, and you can get a 90, right? Which is a test score. So a 90 on a test is probably pretty good at this point, right? But just put some color in there, make it shaded or whatever you want to do. Okay, we have Thursday in class, Friday in class, and Monday in class. We're devoting 3 days to this project in class. Plus you have a Saturday and a Sunday, a weekend. Okay? So we have a lot of time to make it look nice and for you to ask me questions. So on Thursday, have a poster board so that we can start doing this part here. So today, my expectation is for you to make your equation. Okay, make sure you tell me what your equation is so I can write it down. That way, if you happen to lose it, I will have it as a backup. And then start doing your table. So by the end of today on Tuesday, you should have your equation and most of your table done. So when we come back in on Thursday with your poster board, we can start doing the measuring part to create your graph. Okay? So if you have any questions, of course, please ask. You can see me in the morning or during class for questions about your project. Okay? Test grade, do your best. Okay, bye.